Kindly be seated and please pay attention to the upcoming instructions. We request your valuable cooperation in making this event a huge success. Please maintain complete silence during the addresses of the chief guests. Kindly ensure that no one enter or exit the auditorium when the chief guests are addressing the audience. All participants are to remain seated during the addresses. We kindly request everyone to switch off your mobile phones inside the auditorium. We kindly request everyone to not to move from your seats when His Excellency Governor of Tamil Nadu is entering our venue. We request everyone to rise and give a warm welcome when His Excellency Governor of Tamil Nadu is entering the pathway. We request everyone to remain in the hall until the convoy of the governor and the other dignitaries leave the premises. We request everyone to kindly stay back for further instructions at the end of the inaugural function. Thank you all. Good morning to one and all. Kindly be seated and please pay attention to the upcoming instructions. We request your valuable cooperation in making this event a huge success. Please maintain complete silence during the addresses of the chief guests. Kindly ensure that no one enter or exit the auditorium when the chief guests are addressing the audience. All participants are to remain seated during the addresses. We kindly request everyone to switch off your mobile phones inside the auditorium. We kindly request everyone not to move from their seats when His Excellency Governor of Tamil Nadu is entering our venue. We request everyone to rise and give a warm welcome when His Excellency Governor of Tamil Nadu is entering the pathway. We request everyone to remain in the hall until the convoy of the governor and the other dignitaries leave the premises. We request everyone to kindly stay back for further instructions at the end of the inaugural function. Thank you all.
Hello, 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 testing, check. Hello, hello, testing, check, check. Hello, hello. Check, check. Hello, 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 testing, check. Hello, 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 testing, check. Hello, 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 test. Mic testing. Hello, 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 test, check. Hello, 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 test, check. Hello, 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 testing, check, check, check. Hello, 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 test. Mic testing. Hello, hello, check, check, testing. Hello, hello. Check. Hello, 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 testing. Check. Hello, 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 test. Check, 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 test. Hello, 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 test. Mic testing. Check. Hello, hello, testing. Check. Hello, 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 testing. Hello, 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 testing. Mic testing. Check. Hello. Hello, 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 testing. Check, check. Hello, 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 testing. Check, check. Hello, 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 test. Check, check. Hello, 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 testing. Check, check. Hello, 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 testing. Check, check. இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் நேரத்தில் இந்த மாதிரி இருக்கும். Check. Hello, 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 testing. Check, check. Hello, 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 testing. Check. Hello, hello.
Kindly be seated and please pay attention to the upcoming instructions. We request your valuable cooperation in making this event a huge success. Please maintain complete silence during the addresses of the chief guests. Kindly ensure that no one enter or exit the auditorium when the chief guests are addressing the audience. All participants are to remain seated during the addresses. We kindly request everyone to switch off your mobile phones inside the auditorium. We kindly request everyone to not to move from your seats when His Excellency Governor of Tamil Nadu is entering our venue. We request everyone to raise and give a warm welcome when His Excellency Governor of Tamil Nadu is entering the pathway. We request everyone to remain in the hall until the convoy of the governor and other dignitaries leave the premises. We request everyone to kindly stay back for further instructions at the end of the inaugural function. Thank you all.
hello, 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 testing, check, hello, 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 testing, check, check, testing, check, hello, hello, test, check, check, hello, hello, hello.
Kindly be seated and please pay attention to the upcoming instructions. We request your valuable cooperation in making this event a huge success. Please maintain complete silence during the addresses of the chief guest. Kindly ensure that no one enter or exit the auditorium when the chief guests are addressing the audience. All participants are to remain seated during the addresses. We kindly request everyone to switch off your mobile phones inside the auditorium. We kindly request everyone to not to move from their seats when His Excellency Governor of Tamil Nadu is entering our venue. We request everyone to rise and give a warm welcome when His Excellency Governor of Tamil Nadu is entering the pathway. We request everyone to remain in the hall until the convoy of the governor and the other dignitaries leave the premises. We request everyone to kindly stay back for further instructions at the end of the inaugural function. Thank you all. Kindly be seated and please pay attention to the upcoming instructions. We request your valuable cooperation in making this event a huge success. Please maintain complete silence during the addresses of the chief guests. Kindly ensure that no one enter or exit the auditorium when the chief guests are addressing the audience. All participants are to remain seated during the addresses. We kindly request everyone to switch off your mobile phones inside the auditorium. We kindly request everyone to not to move from their seats when His Excellency Governor of Tamil Nadu is entering our venue. We request everyone to rise and give a warm welcome when His Excellency Governor of Tamil Nadu is entering the pathway. We request everyone to remain in the hall until the convoy of the governor and the other dignitaries leave the premises. We request everyone to kindly stay back for further instructions at the end of the inaugural function. Thank you all.
Hello, check. Hello, check. Check. Hello, check. Hello, check.
Hello, 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 testing. Hello, 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 testing. Check. Hello, 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 test. Check. Check test. Hello, 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 test. Check. Hello, 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 test. Check. Check. Hello, 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 testing. Hello, 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 testing. Check. Hello, 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 hello. Check. Hello, 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 test. Check. Hello.
Hello, check. Hello, check. Hello, check. Check. Hello.
Hello, testing.
Good morning, everyone. Kindly be seated and please pay attention to the upcoming instructions. We request your valuable cooperation in making this event a success. Please maintain complete silence during the addresses of the chief guest. Kindly ensure that no one enter or exit the auditorium when the chief guests are addressing the audience. All participants are to remain seated during the addresses. We kindly request everyone to switch off your mobile phones inside the auditorium. We kindly request everyone not to move from your seats when His Excellency Governor of Tamil Nadu is entering our venue. We request everyone to rise and give a warm welcome when His Excellency Governor of Tamil Nadu is entering the pathway. We request Let us family welcome our former Vice Chancellor, A.P. Dash sir, to the dais.
We request all the dignitaries to kindly take their seats. We, the family of Central University of Tamil Nadu, are immensely pleased to welcome one and all for this two-day national conference of Central University Vice Chancellors on devising an action plan for swift and smoother implementation of National Education Policy 2020. We cordially extend a warm welcome to each one of you. Welcome, one and all.
To grace the occasion, we have with us today His Excellency Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu, who will join us shortly. Most respected Dr. Subhas Sarkar, Honorable Minister for State for Education, Government of India, who will join us online. Dr. Kanagap Sabapati sir, former Chairman, ICSSR. Sri Adul Kothariji, National Secretary of Shiksha Sanskriti Uthanyas. Dr. Ashirvad Acharya, Founder Director of the Corporate Governance Research Center, New Delhi. We have our Honorable and most respected Vice Chancellor, Professor M. Krishnan, Central University of Tamil Nadu. Respected Madam Professor Sulochana Shekhar, Registrar, Central University of Tamil Nadu. Respected Professor S. Nagarajan and Dr. Vel Murugan P.S., conveners of Convergence 2022.
Check, check, hello, check, check, hello, hello, check, hello, check, hello, hello. Check, hello, check, check, hello, check, hello, hello, check, check, hello, hello, hello.
Convergence 2022, the two-day national conference, will commence shortly. I request everyone to be kindly seated. To grace the occasion, we have with us His Excellency, Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu, who will join us shortly. Most respected Dr. Subhash Sarkar, Honorable Minister for State for Education, Government of India, who will join us online. Dr. Kanaka Sabapathy sir, former Chairman, ICSSR, Sri Adul Kothari ji, National Secretary of Shiksha Sanskriti Uthanyas, Dr. Ashirvadam Acharya, Founder Director of the Corporate Governance Research Center, New Delhi, most respected Padma Shri Professor A.P. Dash sir, former Vice Chancellor, Central University of Tamil Nadu, we have our Honorable and most respected Vice Chancellor, Professor M. Krishnan, Central University of Tamil Nadu, respected Madam Professor Sulochana Shekhar, Registrar, Central University of Tamil Nadu, respected Professor S. Nagarajan and Dr. Vel Murugan P.S., conveners of Convergence 2022.
Here are a few announcements. We request your valuable cooperation in making this event a huge success. Please maintain complete silence during the addresses of the chief guests. Kindly ensure that no one enter or exit the auditorium when the chief guests are addressing the audience. All participants are to remain seated during the addresses. We kindly request everyone to switch off your mobile phones inside the auditorium. We kindly request everyone not to move from your seats when His Excellency Governor of Tamil Nadu is entering our venue. We request everyone to rise and give a warm welcome when His Excellency Governor of Tamil Nadu is entering the pathway. We request everyone to remain in the hall until the convoy of the Governor and the other dignitaries leave the premises. We request everyone to kindly stay back for further instructions at the end of the inaugural function. Thank you all.
Convergence 2022, the two-day national conference of Central University Vice Chancellors on devising action plan for faster and smoother implementation of National Educational Policy 2020 will commence shortly. I request everyone to be kindly seated. To grace the occasion, we have with us His Excellency Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu, who will join us shortly, Most Respected Dr. Subhas Sarkar, Honorable Minister for State for Education, Government of India, who will join us online, Dr. Kanaga Sabapati Sir, former Chairman, ICSS Sir, Sri Adul Kothari Ji, National Secretary of Shiksha Sanskriti Uthanyas, Dr. Ashirvadam Acharya, Founder Director of the Corporate Governance Research Center, New Delhi, most respected Padma Shri Professor A.P. Dash Sir, former Vice Chancellor, Central University of Tamil Nadu. We have our Honorable and most respected Vice Chancellor, Professor M. Krishnan, Central University of Tamil Nadu, respected Madam Professor Sulojana Shekhar, Registrar, Central University of Tamil Nadu, respected Professor S. Nagarajan and Dr. Velmurugan P.S., conveners of Convergence 2022. We are happy to welcome all respected honorable vice chancellors from different universities across the country, government officials, professors from various universities, press and media professionals, our different stakeholders, faculty members of Central University of Tamil Nadu, staff and students of Central University of Tamil Nadu, and all other participants, a very warm welcome.
Hello, 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 hello. Testing. Check, check, check. Check. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, hello, hello. Testing. Check, 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 check. Hello, hello, hello.
His Excellency Governor of Tamil Nadu has arrived. We request everyone to kindly raise and extend a warm welcome.
We kindly request everyone to rise for the national anthem, followed by Tamil Thai Varthu.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष माहे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
நீராறும் கடலுடுத்த நிலமடந்தை கெழிலொழுகும் சீராறும் வதனமென திகழ்பரத கண்டமிதில் தெக்கணமும் மதிர்ச்சிறந்த திராவிடனல் திருநாடும் தக்க சிறு பிறை நுதலும் தரித்தனரும் திலகமுமே அத்திலக வாசனை போல் அனைத்துலகும் இன்பமுற எத்திசையும் புகழ் மணக்க இருந்த பெரும் தமிழனங்கே தமிழனங்கே உன் சீரிழமை திறம் வியந்து செயல் மறந்து வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே.
This day is indeed one of the profound moments in the history of Central University of Tamil Nadu. We are pleased to welcome the convener of this conference, Professor S. Nagarajan, Dean Academics, Controller of Examination of Central University of Tamil Nadu, and Fellow of Royal Society of Chemistry. He is an ardent scholar with enormous publications in reputed journals and projects at national and international levels. May we now invite Professor S. Nagarajan, sir, convener of Convergence 2022, to deliver the welcome address.
Very good morning to all. It's an honor and privilege for me to welcome you all on behalf of Central University of Tamil Nadu to this conference, Convergence, a two-day national conference to devise an action plan for faster and smoother implementation of National Education Policy 2020. The National Education Policy 2020 is a comprehensive framework for elementary education to higher education. It has been framed to bring out significant transformation in our educational system, thanks to the visionary leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister. As central universities and institutions are front-runners in implementing the NEP 2020, the inputs from the educational leaders will be great help to the stakeholders working towards the upliftment of higher education in our country. I am pleased to welcome His Excellency, Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu, through R.N. Ravi, for accepting our invitation. Thank you so much, sir, for your esteemed presence. CUTN family is indeed CUTN family is indeed proud and happy to have you with us today. Welcome, sir. I respectably welcome the Honorable Minister of State for Education, Minister of Education, Government of India, Dr. Subhash Sharkar. Due to unavoidable reason, is unable to join us and instead will be giving a video message. I am delighted to welcome our beloved former Vice Chancellor and present Vice Chancellor of Asian Institute of Public Health, Bhubaneswar, Padma Shri Professor A.P. Das, sir, for accepting our invitation. Welcome, sir. We have with us today the eminent personality and a great reformer, Sri Atul Kothari ji, from the National Secretary, SSUN. Welcome you, sir. We are privileged to have a great educationalist and a most dynamic personality, Dr. Ashirvadam Ashari, the founder director, Corporate Governance Research Center, New Delhi. Welcome, sir. And it's a great pleasure to welcome Dr. Kanaka Sabhabadi, the former director, ICSSR, New Delhi. I'm very happy to welcome our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Krishnan, sir, the Registrar, Salochana, madam, and Dr. P.S. Velmurugan, the co-convener for this conference. I welcome all the distinguished Vice Chancellors, directors from various institutions, experts, and all the invitees. Indeed, I'm very happy to welcome our District Collector, our Superintendent of Police, RDO, and other district officials. We are really very much thankful to them for their continuous support. I'm very happy to welcome my colleagues, the officers, staff members of CETN. Welcome to the press and media, and I'm very happy to welcome my dear students. I would like to conclude again thanking the Excellency, the Governor of Tamil Nadu, and other dignitaries who have honored us with their presence at this conference. Welcome one and all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your warm welcome. Light signifies the beginning of a fresh start, peace and prosperity.
May we now invite the dignitaries on the dais to light the Kuttuvilakku and commence Convergence 2022. We would like to invite His Excellency, Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu, and we humbly request all other dignitaries to join the proceedings.
We place our sincere and respectful thanks to all our dignitaries. Thank you, sirs and madam. The rich heritage and culture of India has taught us to treat our guests like gods. Aditi Devo Bhava.
The Central University of Tamil Nadu, being host family of Convergence 2022, may we now request our Honorable and most respected Vice Chancellor, Professor M. Krishnan, to felicitate our esteemed Chief Guest, His Excellency, the Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu, with a garland and a memento. Thank you, His Excellency. May we now kindly request Professor M. Krishnan, Honorable Vice Chancellor, to honor the most respected Padma Shri Professor A.P. Das, recipient of Padma Shri in the present year. Sir was the former Vice Chancellor, Central University of Tamil Nadu, and presently the Vice Chancellor of Asian Institute of Public Health, Bhubaneswar, with a garland and a memento.
Thank you so much, sirs. May we now kindly request respected Professor S. Nagarajan, Dean Academics, Controller of Examination, to felicitate the esteemed guest, Dr. Ashirvadam Ajari, Founder Director, Corporate Governance Research Center, New Delhi, with a garland and a memento. Sir, please.
Thank you, sirs. May we now request respected Madam Professor Sulochana Shekhar, Registrar, Central University of Tamil Nadu, to honor the esteemed guest Professor Kanaka Sabapati, former chairperson of ICSSR, with a garland and a memento. Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam. May we now request respected Dr. Vel Murugan PS, Dean Legal Studies, to honor the esteemed guest, Sri Adul Kothari ji, National Secretary, Shiksha Sanskriti Uthanyas, with a garland and a memento.
Thank you, sirs and madam. Please be seated. A person who does his best becomes a natural leader just by example. We are privileged to have a great visionary among us today, Dr. Ashirvadam Ajari, Director, Corporate Governance Research Center, New Delhi. Respected Dr. Ashirvadam sir has also formerly worked with several ministries like the Ministry of Environment and Forest, Ministry of Welfare, Rural Development, Health and Family Welfare, Communication and Information Technology. We are immensely happy to welcome you, sir, to deliver the felicitation address on this august occasion. Over to you, sir.
Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu, Honorable Minister of State for Education, Dr. Subhash Sarkar, who will be joining us online, National Secretary of Shiksha Sanskriti Uttanyas, Adarniya Atul Kothari Bhaiji, Vice Chancellor of Central University of Tamil Nadu, Professor M. Krishnan, Professor A.P. Das, former Vice Chancellor, CUTN, Professor P. Ganaka Sabapati, former Chairman, ICSSR, Vice Chancellors of universities and Directors of higher educational institutions who have come from all over the country. Registrar of CUTN, Professor Sulochana Shekhar, coordinators of this national conference, Dr. P.S. Velmurugan and Professor S. Nagarajan, faculty members and students of CUTN, Vanakkam, Namaskar, good morning. It's an honor and a privilege for me to participate in this national conference where high-profile academicians have assembled to devise strategy for swift implementation of the National Education Policy 2020. I would like to congratulate Honorable Vice Chancellor of CUTN for making such a conference happen. Honorable Governor Sir has been my role model since the initial days of my posting in the Ministry of Home Affairs, and today I feel thankful for the opportunity to be here with you and hearing you in person, sir. Honorable Governor Sir is well known for his mastery in establishing peace among warring factions all through his career. His tenure as Governor of Nagaland brought peace in the state within a short period of time. He ensured that all rebel armed groups signed agreements for a settlement of the 7 decades-old separatist insurgency within the ambit of the Constitution of India, which could assure peace in Nagaland and the rest of the Northeast India. I would also like to recollect his extraordinary work as the head of the intelligence community during his tenure as chairman of the Joint Intelligence Committee. I had an opportunity to work in the Joint Intelligence Committee during my tenure in the Home Ministry. In most difficult times of our country, he coordinated and guided various intelligence agencies to fully meet the core security needs of our country. I do not have any hesitation in saying that the people of Tamil Nadu are honored to have you, sir, as the first citizen of Tamil Nadu, a state which is rich in language, culture, heritage, and traditions. We are all very fortunate to have you as our governor. And we are fortunate to have you amidst us to guide and set the theme of deliberations for another 2 days in this beautiful university campus. When our Honorable Prime Minister wanted to give shape to his dream of New India, his first point of agenda was to refine and restore the glory of Indian education system. He thought of reforming the education sector by bringing in a national perspective to regional aspirations in the form of a national policy on education, which was otherwise mired with Macaulay's system of education aimed at producing only job seekers instead of job givers. A meticulous exercise was started by a special team of civil servants, academicians, researchers, teachers, and educationists for evolving an education policy which will enhance the quality of education for strengthening India towards becoming the global superpower, otherwise we call the Vishwaguru. In this painstaking exercise, the role of Honorable Shri Atul Kothari ji is laudable. I am happy to inform you that most of the contributions in incorporating Bharatiya knowledge system in our national education policy were from the written notes of Atul Kothari ji. We all know that without his contribution, NEP would not have seen the light of the day. As we say, Jnanam Paramam Dhyayam, the ultimate goal of a human being is knowledge. And to achieve the goal of imparting knowledge to a student in a more meaningful way, Government of India undertook a rigorous and wider consultation process in formulating the policy. For the first time, we had a bottom-up approach which has been attempted successfully in this NEP. Since all of you know about the policy, I am not going in detail of the NEP. You have all assembled here for devising action plan for faster and smoother implementation. At the same time, I am very happy to note that 9,13,000 students have registered for Central University Entrance Test 2022 for admission in 87 universities and affiliated colleges across the country. With this huge registration of students, CUUT UG has become the second biggest entrance exam in the country, only next to NEET UG with average registration rate of 16 lakhs per year. Also, I am happy to note that 16,590 students have applied for admission from Tamil Nadu alone. Honorable Sir, of late, vested interests are miring a controversy to slow down the implementation of NEP in the state of Tamil Nadu with particular reference to language. Let us make it clear that NEP provides for multilingual education, giving importance to one's mother tongue. I am happy to know that CUTN is going to conduct the CUET in Tamil language, opening up the doors of opportunity to students even from rural areas of Tamil Nadu. CUTN will admit students from Tamil medium of 10+2 stream. This has become possible due to the personal efforts taken by our Vice Chancellor, Professor Krishnan sir, in implementing NEP. Vested interests in Tamil Nadu may take note that, I quote, no particular language is being imposed on the students and they are free to choose any language of their choice, unquote. We have assembled in a place called Thiruvarur, which has ancient history dating back to 600 BCE. In the same place, temples function as centers of learning since knowledge was considered sacred. Well-endowed temples became magnets attracting students and teachers, which led to annexes being built for the temples and entire colonies having housing intellectuals from a variety of disciplines. It would be interesting to note that the famous Tamil emperor Rajendra Chola did when he succeeded in extending his empire right up to the Ganga River in northern India. Exhibiting his pursuit for knowledge, he decided to commemorate the event by setting up a Vedic college attached to the existing Alagiya Narasimha Perumal temple in Viluppuram, just a few kilometers away from these premises. He wished that the sounds of Vedas should constantly reverberate from the temple, and thus came an educational institute in this land of Chola kingdom way back in 1014 CE, with a boarding arrangements for 304. A number of classical literature like Silapadikaram, Manimegalai, Sivaga Sindhamani, Valayapati, Kundalakesi, etc. Kanchipuram, the capital of Pallava kingdom, was the hub of schools of Tamil literature where some of the brightest went on to teach in famed universities in other parts of India. India was the land of knowledge, tradition, where universities of Nalanda, Vikramshila, Takshashila were in unison with Gatikas of Pallava, Tamil Sangams of Pandyas, Pallis of Chola, Dalavai of Vijayanagar kingdom, and Kandallur Shalas of Cheras, who were instrumental in quenching the thirst of knowledge of our earlier generations. Honorable Prime Minister knew this pretty well, that knowledge is the prime thing which liberates. Sa vidya ya vimuktaye, which means education is that which has liberation as its aim, or knowledge is that which liberates. And he ensured that national education policy gets into implementation mode at the quickest time possible. An exercise that started in 2015 has got a shape of the policy in 2020 and was also announced by himself to give it wider reach and highest priority. The implementation of the policy was started on the very same day of the historic announcement of national education policy. Honorable Prime Minister had then consciously and consciously brought out in his introductory remarks that the policy focuses on how to think rather than what to think. And I quote our Honorable Prime Minister, national education policy will set the foundation for 21st century India. We have given extra impetus to this national policy for ensuring that it makes Indians more empowered and easily attractive to opportunities. We are moving to an era where an individual will not be stuck to a single profession all his life. Thus, he will continuously need to reskill and upskill himself. We have kept this in contention while formulating the national education policy, unquote. Today and tomorrow, lot of deliberations are going to take place in this university to facilitate grabbing of the benefits of NEP within a short span of time with the valuable inputs emanating from academic expertise and vast experience in the field of education. As I conclude, I would like to recollect Thiruvalluvar's Thirukural, the Kural number 399, which goes to say, Tam inburuvadu ulagin purakandu kamuruvar kattarindar. The learned will long for more learning when they see that while it gives pleasure to themselves, the world also derives pleasure from it. With these few words, I would like to thank Vice Chancellor Sir for giving me this opportunity for a wonderful interaction with the August gathering filled with eminence and academic expertise. And a special thanks to my role model, Honorable Governor Sir. Thank you. Nandri, Vanakkam, Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir, for your insightful thoughts on NEP action plan and its implementation. Leadership is the capacity to translate a vision to reality. Today, we have with us a true leader in real sense, Sri Adul Kothari ji, who's an eminent educationalist. Honorable Kothari ji is one of the founders of the Safe Education movement, making significant contributions in curriculum development. We welcome you, sir, to deliver the felicitation address on this occasion. Honorable Sir's speech will be translated by Professor Rajaratnam, Head of the Hindi Department, Central University of Tamil Nadu. Please, sir.
आज के इस उद्घाटन कार्यक्रम के चीफ गेस्ट मुख्य अतिथि तमिलनाडु के सम्मानीय गवर्नर माननीय रवि जी, सेंट्रल यूनिवर्सिटी के वाइस चांसलर प्रोफेसर कृष्णन जी, मंच पर उपस्थित सभी विद्वान एजुकेशनिस्ट, सभागार में उपस्थित सभी देश भर से आए हुए एजुकेशनिस्ट, आचार्य बंधुओं बहनों, प्रिय छात्र भाई और बहनों, मैं आप सबसे एक क्षमा प्रार्थना करता हूं कि मैं तमिल भाषा बहुत जानता नहीं हूं, इसलिए आपके सामने तमिल में नहीं बात कर सकूंगा। इसलिए मैं मेरी मदर लैंग्वेज है जो हिंदी में बात करने का प्रयास करूंगा। सबसे पहले तो इस आयोजन के लिए प्रोफेसर कृष्णन जी और सेंट्रल यूनिवर्सिटी के सभी परिवार के लोगों का बहुत बहुत अभिनंदन करता हूं।
இங்கு மேடையில் அமர்ந்திருக்கக்கூடிய அனைத்து நல்ல உள்ளங்களுக்கும் என்னுடைய மனமார்ந்த காலை வணக்கத்தை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறேன். இங்கு இந்த கருத்தரங்கம் மற்றும் தொடக்க விழாவினை சீரும் சிறப்புமாக நடத்தி கொண்டிருக்கக்கூடிய பேராசிரியர் திரு கிருஷ்ணன் அவர்களுக்கு நன்றியை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறேன். நான் தமிழ் மொழியில் மிக்க ஞானம் இல்லாதவனாக இருந்தாலும் அந்த மொழியை போற்றி இங்கு இருக்கக்கூடிய அமர்ந்திருக்கக்கூடிய வந்திருக்கக்கூடிய அனைத்து நல்ல உள்ளங்களையும் வருக என்று வரவேற்றுக் கொள்கிறேன்.
हम लोग आज 2 दिवस नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी पर डिस्कशन करने वाले हैं और नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी पर डिस्कशन करना इसका अर्थ ये है कि पॉलिसी के इम्प्लीमेंटेशन पर डिस्कशन करना। यहाँ उपस्थित सभी विद्वान जानते हैं कि ये स्वतंत्र भारत की 3rd एजुकेशन पॉलिसी है। ये फर्स्ट एजुकेशन पॉलिसी 1968 में आई थी, सेकंड पॉलिसी 1986 में आई थी और ये 3rd पॉलिसी 2020 में हमारे सामने प्रस्तुत हुई है। लेकिन इस पहली पॉलिसी है, फर्स्ट पॉलिसी है ये स्वतंत्र भारत की जो भारत सेंट्रिक पॉलिसी है। भारत सेंट्रिक का तात्पर्य है कि तमिलनाडु के लिए ये तमिलनाडु सेंट्रिक पॉलिसी है। हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी ने अपने उद्बोधन में कहा था कि लोकल को वोकल बनाओ, तो अंतर्राष्ट्रीयकरण से लेकर लोकल तक का समन्वय इस पॉलिसी में किया गया है। तो पहली विशेषता इस पॉलिसी है कि ये भारत सेंट्रिक पॉलिसी है, अर्थात ये तमिलनाडु सेंट्रिक पॉलिसी है। सेकंड है कि ये स्टूडेंट सेंट्रिक पॉलिसी है। इस पॉलिसी में स्टूडेंट्स के लिए बहुत सारी ऑटोनॉमी, स्वतंत्रता दी है। एक भारत के मूल निवासी युवक अमेरिका में रहता है, उनका पॉलिसी डिक्लेरेशन के बाद एक वीडियो आया था यूट्यूब पर। तो उस वीडियो में उन्होंने कहा कि मैं भारत के भविष्य के छात्रों का बहुत बहुत अभिनंदन करता हूं
क्योंकि जिस प्रकार की पॉलिसी में आपको स्टडी करने का अवसर मिलेगा वो हम लोगों को नहीं मिला था, नहीं तो शायद हम अमेरिका नहीं जाते पढ़ाई करने के लिए। तो इस प्रकार की ये भारत सेंट्रिक पॉलिसी है और स्टूडेंट सेंट्रिक पॉलिसी भी है। ये
இந்த தேசிய கல்விக் கொள்கையானது மூன்றாவது கல்விக் கொள்கையாகும். இதற்கு முன்னால் நடந்த கல்விக் கொள்கைகளை விடவும் மிக அழகான சீர்திருத்தங்களை கொண்டு நடக்கவிருக்கக்கூடிய கல்விக் கொள்கையாகும். இங்கு நடக்கவிருக்கக்கூடிய இந்த கருத்தரங்கமானது கருத்தரங்கத்தில் வைக்கக்கூடிய கருத்துக்கள் அது சம்பந்தமானது மட்டுமல்ல, மாணவர்களுடைய நன்மைக்காக இங்கே பல கருத்துருக்கள் வைக்கப்பட உள்ளன. நாங்கள் எங்களுடைய காலத்தில் இப்படிப்பட்ட ஒரு கல்விக் கொள்கை கிடைத்ததில்லை. ஆனால் இப்போது உள்ள மாணவர்களுக்கு மிக அருமையான ஒரு வாய்ப்பை இந்த மத்திய அரசாங்கம் உங்களுக்கென்று அமைத்து கொண்டிருக்கிறது. இந்த கல்விக் கொள்கையின் வாயிலாக எதையும் திணிப்பதற்காகவோ புகுத்துவதற்காகவோ இல்லாமல் அனைவருக்கும் ஒரு நல்ல பலனை தரக்கூடிய ஒரு கல்விக் கொள்கையாக இங்கே மத்தியில் அமர்ந்திருந்தாலும் அதை நம்முடைய தனிப்பட்ட முறையில் ஒவ்வொரு மாநிலம் வரைக்கும் சென்று சேர்க்க வைக்கக்கூடிய ஒரு கல்விக் கொள்கையாக அமைந்துள்ளது என்பதை பெருமைப்பட கூறிக்கொள்கிறேன்.
इस पॉलिसी की तीसरी विशेषता है, थर्ड इंपॉर्टेंट जो पॉइंट्स है, इस पॉलिसी में होलिस्टिक, कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव एंड इंटीग्रेटेड अप्रोच है। ये जो होलिस्टिक अप्रोच है वही भारतीय अप्रोच है। लास्ट 150 इयर्स की जो हमारी एजुकेशन सिस्टम है उसमें हर बात को हम टुकड़ों टुकड़ों में पार्टली सोच रहे हैं। एनवायरमेंट सेपरेट सब्जेक्ट, वैल्यू एजुकेशन सेपरेट सब्जेक्ट, योग एजुकेशन थर्ड सब्जेक्ट, पेंटिंग्स फोर्थ सब्जेक्ट, म्यूजिक सिक्स सब्जेक्ट, फिफ्थ सब्जेक्ट, कितने सब्जेक्ट बच्चे पढ़ेंगे? इसलिए फिर हम कहते हैं कि कोई 1 या 2 सब्जेक्ट सिलेक्ट कर लो, तो फिर स्टूडेंट्स का होलिस्टिक डेवलपमेंट नहीं होता है। तो इस दृष्टि से हम लोगों ने शिक्षा संस्कृति उत्थान न्यास ने कैरेक्टर बिल्डिंग एंड होलिस्टिक डेवलपमेंट ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स का एक सिलेबस प्रिपेयर किया है। वो स्कूल लेवल का भी है और हायर लेवल पर सर्टिफिकेट कोर्स, क्रेडिट कोर्स भी हमने प्रिपेयर किया है। उस कोर्स में जो एजुकेशन पॉलिसी में जितने को करिकुलर, एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर सब्जेक्ट है वो टोटल सब्जेक्ट का वो एक स्मॉल बुकलेट में समावेश हो जाता है। यही होलिस्टिक अप्रोच है। तो इस पॉलिसी में इसको बहुत इंपॉर्टेंस दिया है। वो चाहे सिलेबस की बात, करिकुलम की बात हो, पेडागोजी की बात हो या स्ट्रक्चर की बात हो, सभी स्तर पर होलिस्टिक अप्रोच की बात कही गई है। तो ये होलिस्टिक अप्रोच जितना इंपॉर्टेंट है उतना ही हमारे सामने चैलेंज है, क्योंकि हम लोगों को लास्ट 150 ईयर्स से आदत, हैबिट हो गई है कि हम हर बात का पार्टली सोच रहे हैं। तो इस दृष्टि से ये एक अपॉर्चुनिटी भी है, चैलेंज भी है। चैलेंज को अपॉर्चुनिटी में ट्रांसफर करना, चुनौती को अवसर में परिवर्तित करना, यही मनुष्य जीवन की सार्थकता है।
இந்த கல்விக் கொள்கையின் வாயிலாக நாம் பள்ளி பருவத்தில் பல பாடங்கள் நமக்கு இருந்தாலும் நமக்கு ஆர்வமான ஒரு பாடத்தை தேர்ந்தெடுத்து நாம் சிறப்பாக கல்வி பெறக்கூடிய ஒரு அரிய சந்தர்ப்பத்தை இந்த கல்விக் கொள்கை நல்கி இருக்கிறது. அது மட்டுமில்லாமல் இந்த பாடத்திட்டத்தின் வழியாக ஆளுமை பண்பு மற்றும் பர்சனாலிட்டி, லீடர்ஷிப் குவாலிட்டி என்று சொல்லக்கூடிய தலைமை பண்புகள் எல்லாம் உள்ளடக்கி மாணவர்களுக்காக நாங்கள் வழிவகுத்து கொடுத்து கொண்டிருக்கிறோம். இதில் மாணவர்களுக்கு மிக முக்கிய நலன் கருதி வைக்கப்பட்டுள்ள விஷயம் என்னவென்றால், தாங்கள் விரும்பிய சப்ஜெக்ட்ஸ் பாடங்களை, அதாவது ஒரு மியூசிக்காக இருந்தாலும், பொருளாதாரமாக இருந்தாலும் சரி, வணிகவியலாக இருந்தாலும் சரி, அவர்கள் விரும்பிய பாடத்தை மிக சிறப்பாக தேர்ந்தெடுத்து படிக்கக்கூடிய ஒரு அருமையான வாய்ப்பை நாங்கள் இந்த தேசிய கல்விக் கொள்கை வாயிலாக நல்கியுள்ளோம்.
और इस पॉलिसी में और एक जो हमारा चैलेंज भारत के सामने है, कंट्री के सामने है, जो पहले पॉलिसी आई या कमीशन बने कहीं एजुकेशन चेंज के लिए स्वतंत्र भारत में 1948 में हायर एजुकेशन के लिए राधाकृष्ण कमीशन बना था, 52 में मिडिल एजुकेशन के सेकेंडरी एजुकेशन के लिए मुदलियार कमीशन बना था, 64 में कोठारी कमीशन बना था, 68 में न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी, सेकंड पॉलिसी 86। इस सभी में बहुत अच्छे सजेशंस थे काफी, लेकिन उनका इंप्लीमेंटेशन नहीं हुआ। मेन प्रॉब्लम चैलेंज हमारे सामने ये है कि हाउ टू इंप्लीमेंट दिस पॉलिसी, और इंप्लीमेंट के स्टार्टिंग कहां से होगा। मैं आपको एक क्वेश्चन करना चाहता हूं, प्लीज आप हाथ ऊपर करिएगा जिन्होंने, कि ये जो एजुकेशन पॉलिसी है 2020 इसका ड्राफ्ट का टोटली रीडिंग किया है जिन्होंने, कंप्लीट रीडिंग किया है ड्राफ्ट, ऐसे लोग आप हाथ ऊपर कर सकते हैं। 5% भी नहीं है। तो फर्स्ट स्टार्टिंग वहां से करना। हम सब एजुकेशन फील्ड के लोग हैं, इंप्लीमेंटेशन करना हमारा काम है। अगर हम पॉलिसी का स्टडी नहीं करेंगे तो इंप्लीमेंटेशन कैसे होगा। इसलिए इस 2 days कॉन्क्लेव में लास्ट सेशन ये होना चाहिए कि हम अपने अपने इंस्टीट्यूशन में, अपने अपने एरियाज में, अपने अपने यूनिवर्सिटीज में कैसे इंप्लीमेंट करेंगे इसका प्लान बनना चाहिए। और उसका फर्स्ट स्टार्टिंग होना चाहिए कि हमारे यूनिवर्सिटी, कॉलेज, स्कूल, एनी इंस्टीट्यूशन, सभी आचार्य, जिसको हम टीचर कहते हैं आजकल इंग्लिश में, वो फर्स्ट पॉलिसी का रीडिंग करे, इसका एक बड़ा कैंपेन हमने लेना चाहिए। सेकंड थिंग है कि हर लेवल पर एजुकेशन की पॉलिसी का इंप्लीमेंटेशन का एक प्लान बनना चाहिए। थर्ड बात है कि बहुत सारे न्यू सब्जेक्ट है इस पॉलिसी में। एग्जाम्पल के लिए आचार्य जी ने जिसका उल्लेख किया, भारतीय नॉलेज सिस्टम। आज तो प्रॉब्लम यह है कि भारतीय नॉलेज सिस्टम है क्या, ये यहीं से प्रश्न शुरू होता है। तो ऐसे बहुत सारे सब्जेक्ट है, स्किल डेवलपमेंट न्यू सब्जेक्ट है, टेक्नोलॉजी बेस्ड एजुकेशन की बात है, मल्टीडिसिप्लिनरी अप्रोच की बात है, मल्टीपल एग्जिट एंट्री की बात है, एबीसी की बात है, बहुत सारे सब्जेक्ट है। तो सब्जेक्ट के अनुसार इंप्लीमेंटेशन का प्लानिंग करना पड़ेगा। यूनिवर्सिटी है तो डिपार्टमेंट अनुसार और सब्जेक्ट के अनुसार। इस प्रकार एक टोटालिटी में इंप्लीमेंटेशन का एक प्लान हमने प्रिपेयर करना पड़ेगा। और स्टेप बाय स्टेप ग्रेजुअली इंप्लीमेंटेशन कैसे होगा। जैसे जो एजुकेशन की सिस्टम है, एजुकेशन का तरीका है शिक्षा का, कि सरलता से कठिन की ओर जाना। तो पहले इजी सब्जेक्ट कौन है, उसके इंप्लीमेंटेशन का प्लान करना है। सेकेंडली हमारे इंस्टीट्यूशन के प्लानिंग में कौन सा है वो, और थर्डली फिर नेशनल इंटरनेशनल सब्जेक्ट। तो इस प्रकार का एक इंप्लीमेंटेशन का एक टोटालिटी में प्लान करना चाहिए। ये यहाँ के लास्ट सेशन में इस पर डिस्कशन होना चाहिए, और इस सेमिनार के फॉलोअप में सभी इंस्टीट्यूशन में इसका प्लान बनना चाहिए।
இந்த தேசிய கல்விக் கொள்கையானது சுதந்திர பாரதத்துக்கு பின்பு பலவிதமான கோட்பாடுகளை வகுத்த பின்பும் பொதுவாக ராதாகிருஷ்ணன் கல்விக்குழு, கோத்தாரி குழு போன்ற கல்வி குழுக்கள் அமைத்து பல சீர்திருத்தங்களை கொண்டு வந்தாலும் அது அந்த அளவுக்கு வெற்றி அடைந்ததா அடையவில்லையா என்று நம்மால் சொல்லிக்கொள்ள முடியாது. ஒரு திட்டத்தை வகுக்கும் போது ஒரு கொள்கையை நாம் வகுக்கும் போது நிச்சயமாக அதை நன்றாக நாம் புரிந்து கொள்ள வேண்டும், படித்து கொள்ள வேண்டும். மதிப்புக்குரிய மாணவ கண்மணிகளாகிய நாங்கள் இப்போது வகுத்துள்ள 2020 தேசிய கல்விக் கொள்கையை எத்தனை பேர்கள் படித்தீர்கள் என்று கேட்டால் உண்மையாக கைதூக்கியபடி 5% 5 விழுக்காடு மாணவர்கள் கூட அதை படித்திருக்க மாட்டார்கள். ஆனால் நான் இன்று ஒன்றை கூற விரும்புகிறேன். அதை படிக்காமல் இருப்பது என்று சொல்ல வேண்டிய ஒரு வாதமானது இன்றோடு முடித்து கொள்ள வேண்டும். அந்த கல்விக் கொள்கையை மிக நன்றாகவும் உன்னிப்பாகவும் நீங்கள் முதலில் படித்து கொள்ளுங்கள். படித்த பின்பு நாம் அதற்கு தகுந்தாற்போல் பல திட்டத்தை வகுக்க வேண்டும். திட்டத்தை வகுத்து கொண்டு அதை எவ்வாறு அப்ளிகபிள் இம்ப்ளிமெண்டேஷன் அமல்படுத்த வேண்டும் என்பதை நீங்கள் நன்றாக தெரிந்து கொள்ள வேண்டும் என்று கேட்டுக்கொள்கிறேன்.
And lastly, हर सिंपोजियम, कॉन्क्लेव, सेमिनार्स में एक एग्जाम्पल दिया जाता है कि वर्ल्ड के 200 यूनिवर्सिटी में हमारा एक भी यूनिवर्सिटी नहीं है. नॉट ए सिंगल यूनिवर्सिटी इन भारत का एक भी यूनिवर्सिटी नहीं है. लेकिन भारत का एक भी यूनिवर्सिटी इसमें नहीं है. क्यों नहीं है उस पर डिस्कशन नहीं होता है. जो वर्ल्ड लेवल के यूनिवर्सिटीज है हमारे यहाँ तो अभी कुछ दिन पहले ही एक यूनिवर्सिटी में हमारा फंक्शन होना था, तो मैंने कहा आफ्टरनून कर लीजिए. तो वहाँ के वाइस चांसलर बताया कि आफ्टरनून में कोई आपको मिलेंगे नहीं यूनिवर्सिटी में. जो वर्ल्ड क्लास यूनिवर्सिटी है 24 आवर्स यूनिवर्सिटी रन करते हैं, तब वर्ल्ड क्लास यूनिवर्सिटी बनता है. इस प्रकार का एक एटमॉस्फेयर क्रिएट करना पड़ेगा हम लोगों ने हमारे यूनिवर्सिटी में, संस्थान में, सभी जगह. तभी वर्ल्ड क्लास के लिस्ट में हमारा नाम आ सकता है. और सेकंडली वर्ल्ड क्लास में हमको एंट्री करना है तो क्या है, इस पॉलिसी में भी इसका जिक्र किया है कि नालंदा, तक्षशिला, विक्रमशिला, वल्लभी, काशी आदि जो यूनिवर्सिटीज थे तब इंग्लिश नहीं था मीडियम, लेकिन पूरे वर्ल्ड से स्टूडेंट स्टडी करने के लिए भारत आते थे. आज भी आ सकते हैं, लेकिन इसका बेस होगा भारतीय नॉलेज सिस्टम. जब पॉलिसी डिक्लेयर होने के बाद एमएस यूनिवर्सिटी बड़ौदा एंड गुजरात टेक्निकल यूनिवर्सिटी गुजरात ऑल्सो, उन्होंने कुछ 3 मंथ 6 मंथ 1 ईयर के कोर्सेज स्टार्ट किए भारतीय नॉलेज सिस्टम पर. इसमें एक कोर्स था टेम्पल मैनेजमेंट. भारत में लाखों टेम्पल है, लेकिन कोई टेम्पल मैनेजमेंट का कोर्स आज तक नहीं था. जैसे ही वो कोर्स स्टार्ट किया, उनको अमेरिका से फोन आए कि आप इस कोर्स को ऑनलाइन करिए, हम एडमिशन लेना चाहते हैं. और ऑनलाइन कोर्स स्टार्ट किया. अमेरिका के 10 लोगों ने एडमिशन लिया उसमें. तो ये बेस बनाएंगे तभी हम वर्ल्ड क्लास में जा सकते हैं. तो ये ऐसी पॉलिसी है कि इस पॉलिसी के प्रॉपरली टोटालिटी में इम्प्लीमेंटेशन से इस देश का एजुकेशन सिस्टम चेंज होगा. और देश का एजुकेशन सिस्टम चेंज होगा. इफ यू चेंज द कंट्री, चेंज द एजुकेशन सिस्टम. थैंक यू वेरी मच. धन्यवाद.
கடைசியாக ஒன்றை நான் கூறிக்கொள்ள விரும்புகிறேன். நமது பாரத திருநாட்டில் 24 மணி நேரமும் நடக்கக்கூடிய உலகளாவிய பல்கலைக்கழகங்கள் இல்லாதது என்று வருந்தப்படக்கூடிய ஒன்றாகும். நாலந்தா போன்ற பல்கலைக்கழகங்கள் இந்திய திருநாட்டில் இருக்கும்போது பல்வேறு நாட்டைச் சேர்ந்த வெளிநாட்டவர்கள் இங்கே வந்து படித்தார்கள். அவர்கள் ஆங்கில மொழியை கடைபிடிப்பவர்களாக இருந்தாலும் நமது நாட்டுக்கு வந்து கல்வியை பெற்றுக்கொண்டார்கள். நாம் உண்மையிலே கல்வியை வளர்த்து கொள்வோம் எனில் சின்ன சின்ன விஷயங்களாகவும், பொதுவாக கோவில் புனித தலம் மேலாண்மை என்று சொல்லக்கூடிய ஒரு கோர்ஸை அவர்கள் ஆரம்பித்தால் நமது மக்கள் அங்கே சென்று பதிவு செய்து கொள்கிறார்கள். அப்பேற்பட்ட சிறந்த நல்ல ஆழமான சிறு சிறு விஷயங்களையும் 24 மணி நேரமும் நடத்தக்கூடிய செயல்படக்கூடிய நமது இந்திய திருநாட்டில் பல பல்கலைக்கழகங்களை நாம் அமைத்தோம் என்றால் இந்திய திருநாட்டினுடைய கல்விக் கொள்கையில் பெரும் மாற்றத்தை நாம் ஏற்படுத்த முடியும். அந்த கல்வியில் மாற்றங்கள் வந்தால் நம் நாடு முழு அளவில் வளர முடியும் என்று கூறிக்கொண்டு விடைபெறுகிறேன். நன்றி, வணக்கம்.
Thank you, sir.
मुझे इस महत्वपूर्ण कार्यक्रम में आपने निमंत्रित किया और मेरे विचार व्यक्त करने का अवसर दिया, इसलिए सम्मान्य कुलपति महोदय और इस विश्वविद्यालय परिवार के आप सभी का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद.
இந்த வாய்ப்பை நல்லிய தமிழ்நாடு மத்திய பல்கலைக்கழக வைஸ் சான்சலர் பேராசிரியர் திரு கிருஷ்ணன் அவர்களுக்கு என்னுடைய மனமார்ந்த நன்றியை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறேன். மற்றும் மாணவ செல்வங்கள் அனைவருக்கும் எனது நன்றியை தெரிவித்துக் கொண்டு விடைபெறுகிறேன். நன்றி, வணக்கம்.
Thank you, sir. Our heartfelt gratitude for your enlightened words on NEP and its benefits for the academicians and students by the transformation in the system. Thank you, Professor Rajratnam, sir, for your translation to Tamil.
It gives me immense pleasure to welcome our esteemed and honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor M. Krishnan. Our Vice Chancellor is a distinguished academician and an able administrator whose contributions in various fields are immeasurable. Previously, as the Vice Chancellor of Madurai Kamaraj University, he has led the institution to stand tall with A++ in NAC accreditation. He is an institution builder who has held several administrative positions. We cordially invite you, sir, to deliver the presidential address. Sir, please.
Honorable His Excellency Governor of Tamil Nadu, Honorable Minister of State for Education, who is going to come on online, Sri Atul Kothari ji, Professor Ganaga Sabhabadi, Dr. Asirvadam Acharya sir, Professor A.P. Das, who is at Padma Shri Award this year, Vice Chancellor, then Vice Chancellor of the great Central University of Tamil Nadu, Vice Chancellors from various universities, and directors of various higher education institute from all over the country, students, media, and my faculty members. Good morning to one and all. Today is a very important day, as today National Conference on Central University of Vice Chancellor on devising action plan for the faster and also the smoother implementation of the NEP 2020 is being organized by our Central University of Tamil Nadu, Thiruvarur. Thiruvarur is very famous for car festival and a tank festival called Teppap Thiruvilla. Today, since such a huge academic gathering is here, so it's called as an academic conference, otherwise called as a academic festival in the venue of Central University of Tamil Nadu. Thanks to His Excellency and other dignitaries for gracing the academic festival in Central University of Tamil Nadu, little ahead with other university because the 5 integrated from where we grant interaction and collaboration. We have already implemented exit program in our department and departmental collaboration. We already formulated different uniform collaboration in these integrated courses. We have 64 programs and some 27 departments. Apart from this, I have to register that Central University is one among the universities to have lot of opportunity to do research and interaction. Number one, this Delta region where agriculture is an important industry. So we are going to start by technology and food technology courses to disseminate the knowledge to the society. Number two, we have the long coastal area, so we are already to start that Marine Research Center near Nagapattinam. Very famous bird sanctuary is there in Kodiyakkarai, where more than 10,000 birds are coming from different parts of the country every year. So we have signed an MOU with the Salim Ali Institute of Ornithology and Natural History, Coimbatore, to start academic and research work related to study of birds. Apart from that, Velankanni, Nagur or Tyagarajan temple, I request if you have time, all should visit the place called Vedaranyam, which played an important role during that salt satyagraha. You can see the prison where our Sri Rajaji was prisoned there. Tiruvarur is prone for disaster. Hence, in collaboration with the National Institute for Disaster Management, we are going to start a Center for Disaster Management. By having a detailed discuss with the Honorable Excellency, we are moving towards to establish the center, the pre-colonial studies in the Central University of Tamil Nadu, where we can bring the status of India during the pre-colonial period. From there, we know indigenous knowledge system, along with academic activities. Thank you, Ministry of Education, for providing grants near about 99 crores to the Central University of Tamil Nadu for having one girls' hostel, one men's hostel, and one academic building of this great university. Thanks to Ministry of Education for permitting our students to write the entrance examination in the local language, that is the Tamil. This is the first kind of its kind. Central University of Tamil Nadu is not only unique in academic activities, we are also unique for extension work. We have adopted nearby villages and provide the good drinking water facility, proper road and solar street light for the upliftment of that villages. Apart from that, we are taking some of the government schools to provide the facilities to improve their education. We are also giving training to the women through the CAIR board of central government with a financial assistance under that Unat Bharat Abhinayan. Once again, I thank all the dignitaries very much for having accepted our invitation and participating in this wonderful conference. If any shortfalls, I am that whole responsible for that. If you feel that, if you want to enjoy that, if you feel that any good things are there, it's because of my faculty and students. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable words. Professor Sulojana Shegar is the Registrar, Professor and Head of School of Earth Sciences, Central University of Tamil Nadu. A sincere, dedicated and strong woman towards academic, research and administration, and is an inspiration to all. May I invite Sulojana Madam for her valuable words on this august occasion. Madam, please.
His Excellency, our Honorable Governor, Sri R.N. Ravi ji, Honorable Ministry of State, Professor Sri Sarkar ji, and our dignitaries, Sri Atul Kothari ji, National Secretary, Shiksha Sanskritan Niyas, Professor P. Kanagasabhabadi, former Chairman, ICSSR, Dr. Ashirvadam Acharya, Founder Director, Corporate Governance Research Center, New Delhi, our most respected Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor M. Krishnan, our dear Professor A.P. Das, Padmashri, former Vice Chancellor, CUTN, and Honorable Vice Chancellors and Directors from various higher education institutions of India, and my dear fellow colleagues and dearest students. அனைவருக்கும் எனது மாலை வணக்கம். A very good afternoon to all of you. Education is fundamental for achieving the full human potential. It is fundamental for achieving an equitable and just society. It is fundamental for promoting national development. By implementing this national education policy, we are going to have a completely transformed education landscape of India, and also accessible education, quality education accessible to everyone. So by realizing this, the Central University of Tamil Nadu organizing this 2 days national conference for implementing this national education policy in a very faster and smoother manner. And I welcome once again on behalf of CUTN for this wonderful conference, and we are looking for your successful participation for the next 2 days. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam. Integrity, inclusiveness, and insightfulness are the essential qualities of a leader. And leadership is also about contributing to the welfare of the society and people. It is indeed a privilege for us to have in our midst the most respected and honorable Union Minister of State for Education, Dr. Subhash Sarkarji, to address this august gathering through video conferencing. Honorable Minister is also an eminent medical practitioner known for his renowned leadership qualities as the Standing Committee member of Health and Family Welfare. May we now invite the Honorable Minister of State for Higher Education to deliver the keynote address.
Namaskar. Warm greetings to all. Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu, Thiru R.N. Raviji, Sri Atul Kothari Ji, National Secretary Shiksha Sanskriti Uttan Nash, Dr. Ashirvardhan Acharya Ji, Founder Director, Corporate Governance Research Center, New Delhi, Professor M. Krishnan Ji, Vice Chancellor, Central University of Tamil Nadu, and other esteemed Vice Chancellor of Central Universities, Director of NITs and Triple ITs, and distinguished professors, students, guests, and friends from media. It gives me great pleasure to be a part of this today's National Conference of Central University Vice Chancellor on devising action plan for faster and smoother implementation of NEP 2020 organized by Central University of Tamil Nadu. I would have been happier if I could go to the historic city of Tiruvallur, but due to some unavoidable program, I am addressing this conference virtually. I would like to share a quote by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam ji. The purpose of education is to make good human beings with skill and expertise. Enlightened human beings can be created by teachers. For the development of a nation, it is essential to strengthen the education system. Dear friends, the National Education Policy 2020 aims to strengthen the new learning paradigm through the adoption of new education technologies or the development of available in-house skills. The National Education Policy 2020 is the outcome of an extensive, high participatory and inclusive consultation process. NEP aims at meeting existing challenges in education and building the foundation of India's promising future. The policy covers education from the school level to higher education with the focus on providing students with options to gain knowledge and skills that will help them in their chosen professions and also make them better citizens. Dear all, the National Education Policy facilitates the holistic development of learners, equipping them with the key 21st century skills, enhancing essential learning and critical thinking, and placing greater focus on experiential learning, thereby providing a holistic approach to the learning process. NEP lays special emphasis on a value-based approach to education, and at the same time, it provides students with skills that will equip them to become leaders in a socially and economically dynamic world. Dear all, higher education plays an extremely important role in the development of a nation. If I talk about some salient features of the NEP, it clearly states that the higher education institutes will focus on research and innovation by setting up startup incubation centers, technology development centers, centers in frontier areas of research, greater industry academia linkage, and interdisciplinary research, including humanities and social sciences research. National Education Policy 2020 enables flexible entry and exit and students' freedom to choose the subjects and languages of their choice will democratize the education system. The thrust on vocational content career-oriented syllabi, flexible and credit-based system, etc., will allow our students to experience learning as an engaging and serious activity. Dear all, this policy implementation will help our institutions to impart knowledge and enable our students to actively participate in the process of nation building. With the implementation of NEP in the Central University of Tamil Nadu, a premier higher education institutions in the state, remarkable stride will be made in the enhancement and promotion of knowledge. I am glad to know that the Central University of Tamil Nadu has taken the necessary steps by consisting a higher level committee to speed up the implementation of NEP in the coming academic year. I have recently visited IIT Guwahati, where they had organized a Northeast Research Conclave to synergize different activities for the sustainable and accelerated growth of the Northeastern region in linkage with academia and industry. On a similar note, I urge Central University of Tamil Nadu to organize such type of conclave to promote innovation, research and entrepreneurship. I congratulate the Central University of Tamil Nadu for organizing the conference. I am sure this conference will surely give the fruitful results and will let the stakeholders know about the implementation of NEP and take further steps to implement in the coming academic year. I wish you all success and prosperity. Thank you all. Bharat Mata Ki Jai.
Thank you so much, Honorable Sir, for your words of wisdom and insightful thoughts. We, the CUTN family, is indebted to you for your esteemed presence on this significant day.
A leader affects eternity. We can never say where his influence stops. We are proud to have the presence of Professor P. Kanakasabapathy, former chairman ICSSR, for this conference. Sir is known for his India-centric research, an eminent professor and a great writer involved in pioneering field studies in different areas across the country. Professor Kanakasabapathy holds various responsibilities as the member, Executive Council, Indira Gandhi National Tribal University. May we now invite the most respected Professor Kanakasabapathy, sir, for his valuable words on this conference.
His Excellency, Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu, Mananiya Sri Atul Kothari ji, Professor Krishnan, Vice Chancellor, Professor Das, dear friend Ashirvadam Acharya, learned Vice Chancellors, Professors, Scholars, and my dear students. This National Education Policy 2020 is a boon to the country and to the academic community. In Tamil, we say, Varadu Vanda Mamani. You know, whatever we have been expecting for so long has come true today, now, in the form of National Education Policy. So this is going to change the entire education system, which we have been expecting for so long. This is the land of Rajaraja Chola, but our students do study nothing about him. We don't know nothing about Rajaraja Chola. It is not just about history, it is even about the contemporary systems. India, for example, 74 years back at the time of independence, was a poor country. But today we are the most potential nation in the whole world. We are the fastest growing economy in the world, and we are the third largest economy. So what happened in between these 70 plus years? We don't study about it. This is, you know, so there is a huge gap between whatever we study in the classrooms and what is happening at the society. While the society is taking India, Bharat, forward, you know, we remain aloof. Universities remain aloof from the functioning societies. So this gap has to be filled up, and this NEP is the opportunity for it. So we have to do it immediately. Otherwise, you know, I represent social sciences, you know, we will become irrelevant. Already foreign universities are coming here and setting up India centers. A few years back, I remember Wharton Business School, University of Pennsylvania, one of the most respected business schools in India, came in the entire world, came here and then studied the leadership pattern. Because, you know, the West during the last 20 years, there is leadership failure. So they wanted to know how India has been moving forward in spite of all problems. So they came here, they met with 98 chief executives of top public sector and private sector companies. And after that, they wrote a report which came in the form of an article in Harvard Business Review. You know what is the title of that article? Leadership Lessons from India. So West is beginning to learn, the rest of the world is beginning to learn from us, but we are not bothered about what is happening. So this gap has to be filled up, and NEP is the opportunity for us. And in the last 30 years particularly, there has been dramatic changes at the global level. You know, 30 years back, it was the West that was dominating the global scene. Now it is not like that. It is India and the rest of the Asian countries that are taking the global economy, global society forward. So things have changed. And now the Indian systems are being accepted, recognized at the global level. India, the way India has handled Corona, no other country has handled it. That is why in the recent Tokyo conference, the American President Biden mentioned that India delivered through democracy, and it is a lesson for us. So these things have to be studied, and we have to start implementing this NEP immediately. There was a mention about Tamil Nadu, particularly Tamil language. You know, those who have studied the NEP in detail would know that there are very important announcements, decisions with regard to language. You know, Tamil will be the largest beneficiary when we implement this NEP. Our ancient text will go across the country, across the world, if we take it up beyond the boundaries of Tamil Nadu. There is an institute going to be set up under National Education Policy, specific institute for translation. So through this translation institute, we can translate our ancient texts. Similarly, other language texts can be translated. The biggest problem now is in terms of engineering, technology, medicine and all. Whenever good research papers come from outside, elsewhere in the world, we don't get it in Tamil immediately. But you know, the ordinary people of India, or Tamil Nadu for that matter, they have enormous wisdom, not just economic wisdom, wisdom in technology, wisdom in innovation. A few years back, Department of Science and Technology mentioned that 30% of the innovations in India take place through what we call illiterates. Some of us who are taking up studies at the field level, we know that our people have enormous innovative abilities, but we don't know about it. And when we translate the innovations that are taking place elsewhere, it will be very easy for the local communities. So this we have to do. For this purpose, there is going to be an institute for translation. Second, new education policy has proposed an academy for all Indian languages. So this academy will take up language-related works, whether it is, disseminating our own language text to other part of country, or, involving Tamil with ancient Indian language, Sanskrit or Hindi or Telugu or Kannada. So it is not that national education policy ignores Tamil. In fact, through national education policy, Tamil can be promoted and reach to the other parts of the world. But unfortunately, because we do not study this NEP very seriously, we don't know the proposals that are made. So it is high time for us that we implement this national education policy seriously. For this purpose, we have to take some quick steps. One is changing our syllabi, changing the course contents, and as Atulji was mentioning, this Bharatiya knowledge system should be part of it. India is not just another country. It's an ancient civilization, perhaps the longest living civilization in the whole world. Those who have studied India in detail, and even some of us who are taking up these field studies, we realize that whatever strength that we have today in the economy, in the society, in the business field, it is largely due to our cultural, civilizational orientations. I remember John Kenneth Galbraith was an economist. He was America's ambassador to India in the 1960s. So he was here for 3 years. And after almost 40 years, he came back to India in 2001. He toured different parts of our country. And before leaving for America, he gave a press interview in which he said, I have been observing India as a country, and the development during the last 40 years has been due to the cultural strengths of India. So we have enormous strengths as a nation: culture, family, society. These are all our strengths, but unfortunately we don't study about it. It is high time we have to Indianize our education system, for which we have to take the necessary steps. You know, India is progressing at the global level. Educational institutions should become partners in progress. So if we want to become partners, then we have to take these steps immediately. My appeal to all the leaders of the educational institutions, vice chancellors, directors, heads of the department is, please start implementing this NEP immediately. I wish these 2-day deliberations are going to result in an action plan through which we can move forward. Thank you very much.
Our sincere and humble thanks for your enlightening words on NEP and the transformation it can bring in the systems such as Institute of Translation and Academy of All India Languages. Thank you so much, sir.
We are extremely overwhelmed to have with us today His Excellency, the Governor of Tamil Nadu, to deliver the inaugural address.
His Excellency, the Governor of Tamil Nadu, was born in Patna, Bihar. His Excellency did his Masters in Physics in 1974. After a brief stint in journalism, he joined the Indian Police Service in 1976 and was allotted the Kerala cadre. His Excellency, before becoming the Governor of Tamil Nadu, served in Kerala in various capacities, including districts for over a decade, and then in different parts of country in various capacities. While serving in the Central Bureau of Investigation, he led several anti-corruption crusades against organized criminal gangs, including the mining mafias in the country.
The Central University of Tamil Nadu Fraternity warmly welcomes you, sir, to this academic gathering, the National Conference. May we now invite His Excellency to deliver the inaugural address.
Dr. Subhash Sarkar, our Minister for State, who is present here virtually, Thiru Professor M. Krishnan, Vice Chancellor and the host of this event, 2 days workshop, Thiru Atul Kothari, Dr. Asirvadam Achari, Professor P. Kanak Sabhapati, Professor Sulochana Sekhar, Padma Shri Professor A.P. Das, former Vice Chancellor of this university, Dr. P.S. Velmurugan, Professor S. Nagarajan, distinguished Vice Chancellors and Directors of higher education institutions present here, faculties, staff members, distinguished invitees, dear students, gracious ladies and gentlemen, Anaivarkum Vanakkam. This 2-day conclave on the on preparing the action plan for faster and smoother implementation of the National Education Policy 2020. Needless to say, it is very, very timely, very, very relevant. I'm sure in these coming 2 days, through your churnings, because you are all eminent people, accomplished individuals in their own respective domain, a lot of good ideas, a lot of good actionable ideas would come, which will be helpful to the governments, state and the union, and the educational institutions and the educationists in moving ahead in implementing the policy in the right spirit. Now, you being all accomplished individuals, academicians, what is there for me to tell you? Now, there is a saying in Tamil, it says, Minaku Nichal Katrukodu Konuma. Do you teach fish to swim? No. You know what to do. All that I am here to share with you, the spirit behind this policy. Because if the spirit is not understood, often policies are lost in the letters. I have seen, being part of government for almost more than 4.5 decades, at the political level, policies are decided, are taken with certain visions, certain ideas. It is framed in the language which is largely intelligible to the bureaucracy, because they are the one who have to implement it. So the vision, the political vision or the policy vision is drafted in a language which is intelligible to the bureaucracy, and thereafter it is reduced to the letter and the spirit is lost. Invariably it happens. And it is happening even today with a very, very diligent Prime Minister who is pushing it day in, day out, is able to correct the course from major deviations, but it has an entropy, it reduces the pace. So, what appears to me and which I would like to share with you is the spirit behind why this NEP 2020 came about. We have known about, we have heard that there was some policy in 48, 50, early 50s, then there was 68, then there was the mid 80s. So at a certain periodicity, we have education policies. Is it one such policy? I'm afraid it is not. You know, friends, 2014 is a watershed period, time in the history of independent India. We have a visionary, dynamic leadership who has fundamentally changed the way we look at the country, the way we look at the problems of the country. It is not an education reform. It is a revolutionary transformation. Our friend Atul Kothari ji mentioned, he asked a question, please raise the hand. How many of you have read it? I was not surprised because in universities, by virtue of being chancellor, I have been visiting and I usually have separate sessions with the faculties, separate interaction with the students. And I invariably ask the question that how many of you have read this document? People have, it's a very, very few. By and large, we offer our comments, we offer our views, opinion based on certain writings here and there, which might or might not be true to the spirit, later on the spirit of the document. Many a times these are swayed by political opinion, which have altogether different considerations. So I think it's the time that we need to go through the basic document, not satisfying merely with the commentary, because you are likely to be misled. So while you would be, it is expected, and expected all the more from this level of a scholarship, that this document is read carefully. In fact, I have been advising the universities where I visited to constitute a team to study it at length and then come up with the action plan with respect to the university, how you are going to implement it, and the difficulties that you might be facing. Find ways, suggest ways, and collectively we'll find the way. We had a conclave of vice chancellors of all the state universities and 10 private universities in Tamil Nadu, 2 days in Ooty. A lot of good suggestions, good ideas, good action plans came. I'm sure similarly, this exercise at the central university, central institute level will be very, very helpful. So while talking about the basic documents, do's and don'ts, what all it needs to be, what all needs to be done, I am coming to the spirit behind. As I said that we have a prime minister who has fundamentally changed the way we look at the country and look at the problems of the country. You know, prior to 2014, this country, India, was looked at a diverse geography, different regions, different languages, different communities, different castes, different tribes. And since we began looking at this country in terms of diversities as differences, and differences were paying dividends, the differences continued multiplying. If you look at the 1951, 50 and 51, the list of scheduled castes, scheduled tribes in the country under the constitution, first presidential notification, it lists out the number of caste and communities. And see today, number has almost become double. New and new caste and new communities have emerged. I mean, if you start looking diversity as difference, vividhata as bhinnata, so then we are responsible for where we brought the country today. This country is not just an aggregation of different geographies. Looking at country, India, as one organic entity. Some people believe that this country was born in 1947. Some people also believe that it is a federal system the way United States of America is. I mean, these are born out of erroneous understanding of this country and the system of this country. India was born several thousand years ago. And the beauty is that the people of India didn't know what India is. It is not India. India is a term given by those who came from outside. People here, they called it Bharat. And Bharat is all over. You have in Tamil language Bharat, you have go to Kashmir, you have Bharat, you have go to Assam, you have whether it is a Abhinav Gupta in Kashmir, whether it's Mahapurush Shankar Dev, in Assam, whether it's our Mahakavi, so Subramaniam Bharati. Bharat is everywhere. But when you say India, it is not the right explanation or right definition or right description of this country. And that is why Article 1 of the Constitution says India, to make it easy and perhaps to provoke the people to think about it, India, that is Bharat. Now, before 2014, this country was looked at as India. It is now that we have started looking at it as Bharat. And when we say Bharat, we know what it is. Since ancient times, long, thousands of years back, it is, when in our ancient Puranas, when we say that, which defines the geographic extent of Bharat, Uttaram yat samudrasya himadrishya iva dakshinam, Varsham tad Bharatam nama Bharati yatra santati. North of ocean and south of the ice-capped Himalayas is the land called Bharat, and its children are Bharati. In everyday rites and rituals in our houses, be it at Kanyakumari, be it Kashmir, be it Kutch, be it Kamrup, when we do various, pujas, be it birth of a child, house warming, new house has been constructed, or a bhumi pujan, all auspicious occasion when a puja is done, we invoke all the gods, goddesses. We invoke Panchabhuta. And two of these Panchabhuta are territorial in nature, earth and water. Akash, no. Vayu, no. Agni, no. But water and earth are territorial. And whenever we invoke water, God water, what do we say? We invoke the rivers right from Sindhu to Kaveri. We say, let all the rivers be present here. So, right from Indus, which is Ladakh, and Kaveri is Tamil Nadu. All are brought. When we worship the land, the earth, this particular earth where the Bhumi Pujan is being held is not this place in isolation, but it is a part of a larger Aryavarta Bharat Khand. Every day, knowingly, unknowingly, in our subconscious, Bharat lives. I have seen in the tribal areas of Northeast, tribes whom British told us that they are different people, nothing to do with you. They have been telling about the stories of Ramayana. There is a Karvi Ramayana, there is a Mishing Ramayana, there is a Mizo Ramayana. Where did they get this? There is a community in Arunachal Pradesh, Idu Mismi community, otherwise called tribes, supposed to be very backward. I had a very startling revelation long back when I used to visit those areas. I found the people telling the tales of Rukmini. Rukmini was from there. And they tell the story in very poignant detail. How Krishna came, fought Rukmi when her brother wanted to marry her off to somebody. Now imagine, these tales have percolated all along the country. Today we call them as if they are separate, they are different. The way to look at these people of this country, their diversities as differences, that has created a lot of problems, all the problems. So now, this country is being looked at as Bharat, as one organic entity. even at the national security front. When in the 50s, when the Chinese had transgressed and taken control of Aksai Chin, there was anger in the country, frustration in the country. There was a heated debate in parliament. And the then prime minister then at the time to lower the tempo and to, make the pain feel less serious, he tried to downplay the area by saying that area, Aksai Chin, is a land, is a rocky desert, not a blade of grass grows there. But in the same rocky desert where not a blade of grass grows there, in 2020, we lost our 20 brave soldiers defending this and repelling the Chinese back. Because for us, it is not a geography, is not a piece of land, it is a part of our Bharat Mata. So the way to look at the country, there is a fundamental change. And the way to look at the problems of the country. Earlier, the problems of the country used to be in segments, small pieces. Right from the first 5-year plan, we have been trying to remove poverty, we have been trying to bring literacy, we have been trying to build infrastructure, road. This 5-year plan, we will build so many hospitals, so many schools, so many this. As a result, even after 7 decades, we remained home to the largest number of poor, illiterate, sick people. Because we kept looking at problems also in segments, small segments. Okay, this much resource we have, okay, so many schools we will build. No. Now, you see today, after 2014, under this leadership, the problem is dealt holistically. Yes, health in totality. There is no discrimination between place A or B. Everyone, every individual, every citizen must have access to good health care. And it's not only just a therapeutic, a kind of sort of a medical intervention, but also the well-being. A whole package, whether it's a Fit India, whether it's a yoga, whether it's a sanitation, cleanliness. 2014, we had the distinction of almost 60% of our people going for open defecation. And then people used to say, oh, this is a cultural issue, people will not change. What happened now? It's a ODF, open defecation free. This happened because we did not look at the problems, in segments. Our response to the problem was not in segments. We looked at the problem holistically and we addressed it. We began addressing it. Now, Prime Minister says by 2024, 190 million households must have potable drinking water. And it will be achieved. Electricity, yes, saturation. All the problems. So looking at the country as a one organic entity, one whole, and looking at the problems of the country in totality is an altogether a revolutionary new look. And with this, the country has to move forward. Country has to reach its destiny. Now, Prime Minister says in Amrit Kal, this 25 years, next quarter century, by the time the country celebrates the 100th years of our independence, we must be where we should be, the world leader. How? This NEP 2020 is born out of that vision. That vision of one India, Ek Bharat, Shrestha Bharat, Ore Bharatam, Unnat Bharatam, and take it to the leadership of the world. It is not just about putting in bracket. I know I have seen certain documents being sort of prepared by expert. Okay, sustainable goal number X, Y, Z, we will achieve this. No, this is not the way. This is an altogether, we have to be appreciative of the spirit. This policy is not like one of those policies in the past which has been framed periodically after a certain decades. As I said, this is a watershed in the history of this country. And when we say to reach the destination of being the world leader, how do we do that? It has to be achieved through our proud citizens, our young people. And they have to be equipped with the education and skill, which not only enables them to have the knowledge and earn the livelihood, but proud citizens. You know, all these years and even today, we have been victim of education system which was established during the colonial period. You know, one of the worst thing that the Europeans did, mostly the British and Portuguese and all, they destroyed the sense of our selfhood, the sense of pride. They induced in us an inferiority complex, that we are inferior, everything about India is inferior, and everything about Europe or the British is superior. Now, when I tell you, it is not a polemical statement. It is not just a few, I would expect, because I am just addressing a galaxy of eminent scholars. And I would urge you to kindly go back and do. I had raised the issue with the Vice Chancellor, Professor Krishnan, and I'm happy that he has taken up this message and is introducing this pre-colonial status of our country as in various fields in the education, industry, agriculture. It was. All that you need to do is to dive into the archives. Don't go too far. Go to Madras archive. It is there. There are documents right from 1670. Long before they started colonizing this country, the documents are there. You know, in 1750, in the decades of 1750, when the British began occupying territory, till then they were a trading company. East India Company was trading. But in the decade of 1750s, they tasted the blood and occupied Bengal. At the time, 1750, the industrial production of India and China together accounted for 73% of the global industrial production, 73%. And in that, nearly 40% was India's. There was no America, there was no Europe. I am 70-50. You know, this, in terms of, a few examples just to provoke your intellectual and academic curiosity to look into it and see that we were how evolved our people were, our ancestors were. In the iron industry, 1840, Sheffield was the leading iron steel company at that time in Europe. It was a British company. And they had tried to export 1,000 metric ton of iron to India. They brought this to Madras port. And they couldn't sell that iron to Indians. And when the question was asked that why is it that this iron has not been sold, the British governor of Madras presidency replied that nobody will buy your iron because iron is produced as a cottage industry here. Ramnakpeta, I am giving these names. Ramnakpeta, which is currently located in Andhra Pradesh, was the largest smelting and foundry for iron and steel. There were so many. And not only that, quality of iron was better than the iron produced by the Sheffield. What they did? They came, they studied all the diagrams, the technology, the know-how. They adopted that and they killed the local industry by order, taking over the land. So systematically our industries were killed. There were so many examples. I just quoted one for the sake of brevity, sake of time. And killing the sense of selfhood, killing the sense of pride was again a part of the design. Because when they began conquering the territory, the then governor of Bengal, Clive, wrote a letter to their headquarters that we are a trading company. Governing a territory, running the administration is not our business. We are not trained to do that. And so he requested the British government to take over the administration. The matter was strongly debated whether they should take over the conquered territory from the company or not. At the time, they had an advisor on colonial affairs, again an academician, Professor Adam Ferguson of Edinburgh University. Those days there were 3 centers of learning: Oxford, Cambridge and Edinburgh in England. That Adam Ferguson letter to the British government is very interesting and I would urge you to read it. That letter says that no, we should not take over. Company must run it. Why? The reason given is the British had the experience of colonizing America. United States today, Canada, Australia, others, Spanish and all, had experience of colonizing Latin America. Professor Ferguson says that we cannot replicate our experience in colonizing other places, other continents, because those places it was possible to annihilate the local population and repopulate that area with our people. We cannot replicate that experience in India because of its large population, evolved population, organized population at the social level, at the society level. There were multiple kings. Even today, people commit the mistake of saying that who was the king who ruled whole India? India has never been defined. Bharat has never been defined by rajas, by rulers. It has been defined by the society, by the Samaj. And they said, very organized society. You cannot replicate that experience in India. So, what should be the objective of colonizing imperialism? He said, our objective should be to transfer of as much wealth as fast as possible from India to Europe, Britain. And if the crown, if the government takes over, the British civil servant would be bound by the conduct rules and rules of the business. They will not easily bend or break the rules. Because the expedient transfer of wealth will require frequent bending and breaking the rules. It will be easier if they are company employees. We can look the other way. It was a matter of design. Then it was decided, okay, let the company continue. And the British started directing the company from behind. Since it was clear in their mind right from the beginning that they cannot replicate America and Canada and Australia in India, so how to make this empire durable as long as possible over people who are evolved, highly civilized, intellectually evolved, industrially developed. You can kill the industry. What about the intellectual wealth? And then they decided to, by design, to do all those things which will undermine the self-confidence of the people of India. The first thing that they did was, one of the first thing I should say, in the latest part of 18th century, about 1795, they commissioned James Mill. Many of you might have heard the name of John Stuart Mill. He was his father, a missionary. They commissioned James Mill to write a history of India. And he, over a period of 7 years, compiled 5 volumes of history of India. And in that history of India, they just deliberately projected everything in India everything was ugly, insane, bad. There in one of the volumes they write, Indians have the qualities akin to eunuchs. Very derogatory. If you read, any proud Indian would feel revolted with this kind of a blatant abuse. But that book, those volumes became the textbook for all the British civil servants, those who came to rule India. They had to pass that. First, after they were selected, they were to go through an examination to clear it, and the text on India was James Mill, History of India, the 5 volumes. Not only that, in 1800, no, this became, with this knowledge, when this British administrator came, and then came 1802, first came the Peel's Act, 1800, where they started destroying the native education system. Before that, again, as an academician, all of you, I am urging you, all the 3 governors, British governors, they ordered a study, they commissioned detailed study of the indigenous education system, separately. In Madras, it was Thomas Munro. And read their reports and see what was the education system in this country. In Madras presidency, Thomas Munro report, he got the report from all the district collectors. Number of schools, number of higher schools, subjects taught, their financial management. You'll be surprised, the subjects, even the smallest district had more than 500 such education centers. And the subjects taught were literature, mathematics, astronomy. I'm not talking about astronomy, music, art, multiple subjects, multiple disciplines. Through the 1802 Peel's Act, they started systematically starving those institutions to death and replacing them with a new system, where they were all trained by this book, James Mill's, and that orientation to kill the self-pride and respect of the self-confidence of the Indians. 1813, the British Parliament passed an act, India Charter Act 1813. This act specifically mandates the British government to go for the religious and moral redemption of India. They said that anyone who doesn't know gospel is living in dark ages, a spread of gospel. Religious and moral redemption of India was an act of British Parliament, India Charter Act 1813. How many of us have read this? It was all part of a design. Karl Marx in 1852, when the Das Kapital was still in his intellectual embryo, he was thinking about it. He wrote a series of articles in New York Daily Tribune in August 1852. Some of these are already available on the internet. Kindly pull out and read it. One of the first articles which Karl Marx wrote was, the responsibility, the duties of British in India, what the British Empire should do in India. And he laid down twofold duties. He said, total annihilation of the Indian social order. Total annihilation of the Indian social order and laying the foundation of a Western material civilization. For Karl Marx, it was all matter. Humans were moving hydrocarbons. Our emotions were all chemical reactions. So, total annihilation of the India's social order. Because he said, a society that worships monkeys and cows is not a society worth surviving. It must be annihilated. The word that he uses is Hanuman. He calls Kanuman. Poor guy, he didn't know how to actual the wording of his. The Indians, they worship Kanuman and cows. So this society is not worth existing. It was a collusion of all these people. Marx ideas, intellectual backup. James Mill, Wilberforce, so many people got together, and the Parliament, British Parliament, all together. The goal was one, to kill the self-confidence and pride of Indians, and which they succeeded. How ironic it is that these things, 75 years down the line, somebody has to come and stand and talk. It should have been known to us by now. Unfortunately, we have not done. Now, a country which doesn't have a pride in its past, which has been made to believe that everything good comes from Europe and America, the West, it will be only a poor imitator. This country has to grow with its genuine self-confidence. Every citizen of this country must be proud of its past, its shared cultural spirituality, and move forward. Now, this NEP 2020 is rooted in this spirit. So all you ladies and gentlemen, those who are going to deliberate over it and those who have the responsibility to implement it, please bear in mind, don't get lost in the letter of it alone. Keep in mind the spirit behind it. And then you will be able to do justice. Not only to the policy, you will be able to do your fair bit of, discharging your fair bit of responsibility to this country. Our youth must grow intellectually enabled, spiritually evolved, and emotionally self-confident. That is the India that we are looking forward to. And that is what we have to build. Friends, you are all here at a very, very, very sacred place. This Tamil Nadu is a spiritual land. A lot of spirituality, most of it emanated from here and radiated through the length and breadth of this country. Even Swami Vivekananda, when he was anguished and pained at the plight of Indians at the hand of colonial powers, he was in distress. He came to this land, came to Kanyakumari. There he meditated for a number of days. Before that, he was already in many ways spiritually evolved with the association with Paramhans, Swami Ramakrishna. But here he learned Saiva Siddhant. It is Manon Manian Sundarna who actually taught him the Saiva Siddhant, who gave us the Tamil Thai Vardu we sang today. He taught him initiated him and taught him Saiva Siddhant. And then he meditated. And then he realized the course for redemption of India was rise of self-confidence, India's sense of nationhood, India's sense of selfhood. It was this land that has produced people like Mahakavi Bharati. At the age of 40, I mean, somehow these genius people who are sent by God, they leave fast. God calls them so early. But look at, I mean, you read or listen and you get goosebumps. When he talks about Bharat, he says, Vedam ulayad indanad, Nalla Veerar Pirind Indanad, Chedamilla de Hindustan, Ida Daivamenru Kumbittadi Papa. देवों की नगरी, वीरों की नगरी, अखंड भारत, यह देवी है, ये माता देवी है, ये बच्चे इसकी पूजा करो. We have different languages, but thinking is one. When Mahakavi says, Bharat Mata, Seppu Modi Padinetodiyar, Enil Chintanai Ondrudiyar. See, he speaks 18 languages, but thinking is one. This has come from this land. And those of you who have come from outside, I would urge you to find some time to visit the places, ancient living for 2,000 years. Because this place still, they were able to manage, they didn't suffer that much of onslaught the way other parts of the country did. They did suffer a lot. They have suffered a lot. They carry their scar, but still the institutions are alive for 2,000 years plus. So visit the place, have a pleasant stay, memorable stay, and I wish you all very, very productive 2 days conference. Thank you very much. Nandri.
Thank you very much, His Excellency, for your esteemed presence and for inspiring us with your deep thoughts on the rich cultural insights of our nation, Bharat. CUTN family is indeed proud and happy to have you with us today. Now, we welcome our respected Dr. Vel Murugan PS, convener Convergence 2022, an ardent scholar of commerce and a Fulbright fellow to deliver the vote of thanks. Sir, please.
Good afternoon, dignitaries on the dais and off the dais. On behalf of our Honorable Vice Chancellor, members of the statutory bodies, statutory officers, deans, head of the departments, faculty members, and all other stakeholders of Central University of Tamil Nadu, I deem it a great honor and privilege to propose vote of thanks on this memorable occasion. I wholeheartedly thank Almighty God for making this inaugural session of the 2 days Conference on National Education Policy a grand success. First and foremost, I thank His Excellency, Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu, for visiting CUTN for inaugurating this conference. Sir, you are the first Governor of Tamil Nadu, in fact, a Governor to visit this campus. Thank you for visiting us. And also sensitizing us all on the proud feel of Bharat. Thanks a lot, sir. I also express my heartfelt thanks to Honorable Union Minister of State for Education, Dr. Subhash Sarkar, for delivering an online keynote address in this conference. He was supposed to be available here today, because of other pressing commitment, he was not able to make it here. Thanks to Dr. Subhash Sarkar, virtually. We are grateful to Shri Atul Kothari, the Secretary of Shiksha Sanskriti Utanyas, for providing continuous valuable guidance, support, and being with us today in spite of his very busy schedule. Sir, as we all academicians know, you are a source of inspiration and a key player in formulating the national education policy, which is, as others said, going to make a transformative change in the education system of our country. Thanks for your presence, sir. I thank our well-wisher, Dr. Ashirwad Machari, for his continuous guidance and support. He is the founder director of Corporate Governance Research Center, New Delhi, for
he was even instrumental for devising the theme of this conference and suggesting us in various ways for the successful conduct of this event. Thanks for being with us, sir. My thanks due to Professor P. Kanakasabapati, former chairman of Indian Council of Social Science Research, for having accepted our invitation at the last moment and for delivering his keynote address, sir. Thank you so much for your presence. I thank all the distinguished vice chancellors of various central universities, directors of IIT, NIT, and other technical institutions for your gracious presence today. The galaxy of education administrators present in this venue shows that the NEP, the day of full implementation, wholesome implementation of NEP is not far away. Thank you for all your valuable presence, sir. I thank the members of the media. Before that, I thank our former Vice Chancellor, Professor A.P. Das, sir, who is a visionary in fact, the whole university setup which you see today is because of his visionary implementation of policies. Thank you for your valuable presence, sir. I thank the members of the media, officers, district collector, officers of police officers, and all other others from the district administration for helping us for the past 30 days for this successful inauguration section of this 2 days conference. Last but not the least, I thank the president, members of various Vibhag Pramukhs of Shiksha Sanskriti Utanyas for helping us in formulating the themes of this 2-day, the deliberations which is going to happen in these 2 days. I thank all the members of Shiksha Sanskriti Utanyas who are present here in this conference venue. And lastly, but not the least, I profoundly thank everyone for your cooperation in making this inaugural session a resounding success. Thank you.
With this, we come to the end of the inaugural session. May we request everyone to rise for the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष माहे गाहे तब जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे